You asked for 6 pro player tips that all pro players do, which will make you a better player. You asked and your wish was granted. Stick around for this video and you will learn 6 tips that all pro players do. Welcome back to all legendary gamers tuning in from all over the universe. It's Nauwz, your favorite class setup builder here, and for today's video, this is a highly requested video. You guys wanted 6 pro player tips that you can use to definitely enhance your gameplay and so that you can be a better player. So these tips that I have here, pro players are definitely using them, and I believe that once you guys enforce this in your gameplay, you will definitely become a better player. So just before I share these tips with you all, make sure to drop a like on today's video. If you're excited to hear about these tips, guys, they are really good. Subscribe to the YouTube channel now if you want to see more advanced gameplay, if you want to see the best class setups for your weapons, and if you want more tips, make sure to subscribe to the channel now. The first important pro player tip that all pro players follow is using meta weapons. So yes guys, your choice of weapon matters because you know from season to season, some weapons have been buffed and some weapons are nerfed. You always want to use the best weapon in a season so that you can have the advantage. So a meta weapon is basically the best weapon in a certain season based on the changes that the game has made. So guys, make sure to always use the best weapon in a season, guys. That has been something that all the pro players follow to give themselves an advantage in the game. The second pro player tip that all pro players do is that they use the UAV Scorestreak. So guys, all this time the UAV Scorestreak has been really important. From the day you started playing Call of Duty Mobile, what you will find is not many players have been using the UAV Scorestreak, and as a result of that, your teammates are really depending on you so that you can pop that UAV so they can benefit from it. So you are not the only one that benefit when you use that UAV. Your teammates also get to see where enemies are located on the minimap. And another thing you will find, guys, not many players are also rocking the ghost perk. So as a result of that, you will always know where majority of the enemies are located. So make sure to always use your UAV. It is one of the easiest score streak to get. I think you can get it by even getting 2 kills and you get the UAV, and then you can utilize it from there. With that important point out of the way, this takes me into my third pro player tip that all pro players do, is that they utilize the minimap. So guys, the minimap is really important. So what you'll find is many players have been running around like headless chickens searching for enemies. What pro players do is that they read the minimap, guys. So the minimap basically shows you the positioning of your teammates, and from there you can tell where the enemies are located and where the enemies will spawn, guys. So reading your minimap is really important. You always want to take notice of the minimap. What I did was to go into settings and make my minimap a bit bigger, and I placed it at the top of my screen. And from there, I did that little change, guys, I could see the positioning of my teammates better, and also I could predict where the enemies have been coming from, guys, and where they are spawning. So just note, guys, wherever your teammates aren't located on the minimap, that is where your enemies are coming from. So pay attention to that. So with that said, that takes me into my fourth pro player tip, is that all pro players pay keen attention to movement. So whether you want to deny it or not, movement is a really important factor for you to easily win that gunfight, and it also helps you to become a harder target for your enemies to hit. So from sliding to drop shotting to sliding when you're going around corners and aiming, guys, those are really important. Your positioning is really important, guys. So what I usually do is when I'm going around a corner, I'll usually slide and aim. So if there's an enemy located around the corner, due to the MS, guys, how the MS works, you won't appear on the enemy's screen at the same time. So it will take a while for you to appear on the enemy screen, and as a result of that, you could get that first few shots and take out your opponent around the corner. So guys, another thing you realize I'll do a lot is drop shot. So guys, what you'll basically do is hold down on the crouch button. Look at that right there. That enemy killed me by drop shotting. So what he did was hold on the crouch button while still aiming and shooting at me. So he took me out really easily right there. And another thing that has a major impact on your movement speed is your mobility. So when you are making class setups or loadouts, you always want to have a high mobility on your weapons, guys. And what you realize is when you're choosing those attachments, you'll see if you have a lot of speed, the movement speed, guys. You always want to choose attachments that help with your movement speed. So make sure to pay attention to that. Movement is important if you want to win those gunfights, guys. And that is something all pro players pay attention to. So my fifth pro player tip that all pro players do is that they pre-aim and pre-fire. The thing about pre-aiming, guys, is that pro players usually predict where their enemies are coming from, and as a result, having your scope placed at a certain place and predicting that there will be an enemy coming from that end, that will give them the ability to get their first shots at the opponent. So at times you'll have that you're aiming at a spot and you can tell that will be an enemy coming from that end, and if you have your scope placed at that side, an enemy will just run into your scope and you'll get that shot to kill them. So guys, that is really beneficial. Another thing, sometimes you know there's an enemy behind an object, and as a result, keeping your scope on that spot, as the enemy runs out, you can get to kill that enemy. And that also, in addition, guys, the pre-fire option also comes with the pre-aim, because if there's an enemy located behind an object, if you think that the enemy is gonna run out anytime soon, you can start to get those shots, you can start firing, and that enemy will eventually run into your shots. So those are really key tips right there that pro players use a lot. They are good at predicting, and as you play more, guys, you will get used to pre-firing, guys, and pre-aiming. The final pro player tip that all pro players do is that they utilize cover. Guys, what you will realize about pro players is that they are always grabbing for objects to hide behind, guys. They are always sticking behind objects, because the thing is, guys, it helps them to be less vulnerable. So if there is an opponent that is shooting at you, guys, if you have cover, majority of the times, guys, the chances are slim of you getting killed behind an object, guys. It gives you the advantage, because if you're taking cover, majority of the times the opponent will miss those shots and the cover will protect you, guys. And if you are at a low health, you get the chance to regenerate your health, and you can also reload behind the cover, and then you can go back to the gunfight. So that is the thing for cover. They are always grabbing cover. It is really important to grab for cover in your gunfights, because it makes you less vulnerable. And one more tip, guys, always practice. That is the extra tip right there. That is the extra tip. Always practice. Practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes better. You will become a better player over time if you start to apply these tips throughout your gameplay. And these are really important tips that all pro players do. I can tell you guys because I play competitively sometimes, and these are the things that we do. So if you did enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like on it. It is totally free and appreciated. Subscribe to the YouTube channel now if you want to see more tips, if you want more tips on the channel, guys. If you want the best loadouts, guys, subscribe to the channel now. So it was your boy Nauwz. Make sure to stay safe, and with that said, I'll see you all in the next front line.